This episode of On the Line is presented to you by Living.fit, your one stop for all your fitness needs. Make sure you go download the app Living.fit today. Now here's the show. Welcome to On the Line. Today is Tuesday, June 14th. We got a very fun show today with Rob Wilkinson. Fun interview. Talk literally about everything. Very fun. We make fun of America a lot, which is kind of unpatriotic when you think about it like that, but it is what it is. There is all facts, no lies. But anyway, fun show with him. We go over UFC 275. We give our winners and losers for the week. Just a fun show. But before we keep going, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Listen on Apple, Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, or any podcasting platform. Hit that follow. Leave a review if you're one of the cool kids. But without further ado, let's go on into Rob Wilkinson. We are joined by a very special guest. He is a hot commodity in PFL. We are joined by Rob Wilkinson. My man, what's up? How we doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
We're doing great. So how does it feel to know that like everyone's starting to rock the mustache ever since you won your first fight over in PFL?
I've been getting probably more talk about the mustache than the fight. So.
Well, I mean, Tom Cruise took your style, and now everyone's copying you.
It's true. It's going well. The mo.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. And so, I mean, like, I just out of curiosity, I know, like, you've made this move. You kind of went through this, like, 3 or 4 year gap, or 3 year gap, really, of, like, where you couldn't really find a fight. You were trying to get MMA fights, going from, like, boxing, kickboxing, things like that nature. Was there a point where you're like, fuck, dude, I may not be able to get back in there? Or was it just kind of the drive was always there?
It was pretty frustrating for a while, but like everyone was frustrated, I guess, with COVID. But even before COVID hit, like straight out of the UFC, I took some time off, decided what I wanted to do, kind of found my passion for it again, kind of lost that for a little while, kind of the few years I was in the UFC, or like the year before that as well. Just kind of got over the training and just everything really. I was living somewhere else and just not really enjoying it. But once I moved back home, I kind of took some time off. I was still training, but not training for a fight or anything. And then I kind of realized how much I enjoy doing this and try to get some fights going. And then it was pretty frustrating just because I couldn't get any fights. I thought after the UFC, most people want to fight an ex-UFC guy to try and make a name. I just couldn't kind of match anything up.
Is that why you moved up to just out initially? Why you moved up to 205, or did you always want to move up to 205?
No, that was just after my last cut to middleweight in the UFC. I was a big middleweight. I was cutting a lot of weight, like 30 pounds in a week, like 13, 14 kilos. And and that was the first time I really felt like shit in the fight. Like I felt the weight cut in the fight. So I had a few fights, like kickboxing fights at 95 kilos, and that felt way better not having to worry about the cut, not focusing on the cut, just focusing on the fight. So yeah.
Was there a point in that last cut where you're like, maybe I won't make it? Did you have any like bad experiences in that like last cut when you fought Adesanya?
I mean, I made it, but I was pretty much like
string bean.
I had to get my undies off just to make it. I could barely stand up. I was semi-surprised at looking back at it that the commission or someone didn't kind of pull me for the fight, since I couldn't even stand up backstage. I was holding onto my coach to walk around kind of thing, just about to pass out constantly. But so I feel way better going up to 205. I would have gone up a lot earlier, but the gap's so big for middleweight.
Yeah, it's like an awkward. I feel like you're in that little awkward stage too, where it's between like if you had like a 195 division, you'd be like perfect for it.
Yeah, I would have gone to 195 years ago, but
that doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. I mean, looking back to at that UFC run, I mean, you kind of got the shit end of the stick. I mean, you went the debut didn't go your way, and then the second one, I mean, you fought the current middleweight champion of the world, arguably the best 185er, and you kind of look back on it and you're like, that guy kind of was up there, man. Like, it's just I kind of got the shit end of the stick.
Yeah, I know that. And I know where I stand. And I know, I went and trained with Israel and the guys at City Kickboxing after I fought him. And his coach always said to me it was bullshit that I got like cut, and I shouldn't, Eugene said I shouldn't have got cut. And I kind of knew what level I was at. So it was just but I still knew I had to improve in a lot of areas as well. Like I learned just even from hanging out, talking with Israel, he turned down the UFC for a few years and waited till he was ready to go straight to the top. And you could see that's exactly what he did. And I wasn't at that level yet, obviously. Like I wasn't ready to fight in the top 10, 15 in the world. I still needed to work on stuff. So I kind of used my time, that I had with COVID and not getting fights and having a bunch of kickboxing fights, having a boxing fight, and just, grounding out my game. So now I know that like that's what I want to do. I'm ready to go straight to the top, and that's what I'm.
Well, I want to ask about those boxing, kickboxing fights, but real quick, was it weird the first time you went to go train with those guys when you went over to the city kickboxing? Was it a little weird the first time?
It wasn't too weird. It was weird because they do a lot of study. Like I remember that their wrestling coach was just like said he felt like he already knew me because he'd watched so much of my tape, and that kind of made me start thinking. I was like, I don't really watch any tape, so maybe I should start doing that.
So there's a little things like that you've taken away, and so then you went into striking, kickboxing, and things like that. I mean, do you like going into those kinds of fights? Does that just give you more confidence, especially now, more in your stand up, like going forward now that you have that experience in like a fight? Like where you can't go to the ground, you can't use your wrestling base. You kind of have to use your striking. Like, is your confidence now just like through the roof? Like if you have to go up and stand and bang?
Yeah, definitely. I felt much more comfortable standing up with people. I think I've shown that in my last couple of MMA fights as well.
Yeah.
I fought a really good kickboxer from Australia and went like 5 rounds with him, and that was for a title. And got the decision there. I dropped him once, and then I had a boxing fight against an ex-Australian champ and state champ for a state title. And that was scheduled for 8 rounds, and he's a tough guy, and I don't think he'd ever been knocked out before, and I finished him in the 5th round, so that was good.
No big deal. No big deal.
Yeah, definitely gave me a lot of confidence, and I used to always think I was just a wrestler, grappler. I'd take people down, ground and pound them until they, quit or I'd get the sub. But now, like training at different gyms and stuff, I've noticed my striking's, that like is one like elite level now. I'm like beating people with my striking.
Which is, it's gonna be a little fun, but now they don't have it. Now it's like what the point, like that kind of like the balance. It's a lot more dangerous. They don't know where you're gonna go. They don't know if you can fake a takedown, knock them out with an overhand. There's so many more things you could do now in your toolbox. But like, now that you have that, like, what's the biggest differences between like boxing striking and like kickboxing striking and then like MMA striking? Would you say? Because they are different.
They're definitely different. And going into all those fights, I didn't necessarily want to be just a boxer or a kickboxer. I knew I was just doing it to kind of get some experience and improve my skills. MMA, obviously, you're always worried about the takedown. You're wearing little gloves. You can't just kind of shell up like they do in boxing. So, like, learning those things, obviously, it's different. But I've been doing MMA, since I was 17. So it's always... I've had that MMA striking. I've just kind of made it a lot sharper, a lot neater, learning some more tricks and setups.
So what has been the best part about Jordan? Obviously, the PFL, you got an opportunity to come back to fight like in a major promotion in PFL. What was kind of the biggest thing that pulled you in, obviously, other than the $1 million cash prize?
What was that question, sorry?
No, it's like, what was the biggest thing to pull you into PFL? Because I'm assuming PFL wasn't the only big organization reaching out to you. I'm assuming like maybe a Bellator, maybe a One, someone like that might have been reaching out to you. Like, what was the biggest thing to pull you into PFL other than that $1 million cash prize?
I mean, obviously the money's good, but the tournament style I was interested in. The fight, you progress 4 fights, and you're a world champion. And that's been my goal since I started when I was 17. I want to be a world champion. So it's like very realistic goal to get to. And you've got 4 fights over 6 months, fighting regularly, being active. That's something I've been craving so much over the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, without those layoffs, it's got to be nice knowing you got to fight no matter what. It doesn't matter who it is. You're going to be fighting like no matter what. They will find you a replacement. No matter what, you're going to be fighting.
Yeah, it's perfect. And you just know you're going to fight. I've done one tournament before, like earlier in my career. That was 3 fights over the year. So it was a bit more spaced out, but it was just good knowing once you won your fight, you had another one in the books, and you knew that you could have like a week off or whatever, and then you get back to work.
It's great. It's fantastic. So like, what is like, obviously you feel better when you're at 180, when you're better at 205, you feel a little bit, probably just a lot stronger, but like, what was the biggest differences, like maybe during the cuts or maybe like before the fight itself that you felt between like when you would cut to 185 and now that you're at 205?
I think I felt, it might have taken me a while to realize, like, obviously you work on your fitness and you train so hard, but I kind of felt like I was gassing a little bit quickly in my middleweight fights. I know a lot of them finished quite early, and that's partly because I felt like, oh shit, I got to finish it early. I'm fucking feeling a bit shit. but just not like, I feel like I can go, I fight, I train roughly at what weight I'm going to be fighting at. So I'm kind of used to that weight a lot. I'm not doing a massive cut. Like I'm doing a decent cut, but it's nothing hard for me. I don't have to focus on that. Like people used to ask me, am I excited for my fight? I'm just like, I'm just trying to get through the weight cut before I can even think about the fight. Where now I can kind of, the fight week's fun. I like chill out, relax. I'm cutting the weight, which is always shit, but it's not dreadful. I'm not dying or anything like that. Yeah.
How much do you cut during the week now? Like, how is it? Like maybe like 15 pounds, 10 pounds?
Like 15 to 20 pounds in
Oh,
a
yeah,
week,
that's
which is pretty easy for me. Like less than, it's probably about 8% of my body weight, 8 or 9%. So I used to, anything under 10%, I'm happy with. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't want to look at too far ahead. Like obviously you're focused on PFL. You're focused on this matchup here next Friday. Let's say God willing, you win that $1 million prize. And to say the UFC calls you, would you want to go back or would you stick with PFL? It is a hypothetical, big hypothetical,
Yeah.
but would you want to go back? Because I know that was your original goal, but they did cut you kind of early and kind of gave you the shit end of the stick, as we said before.
Yeah. I do want to go back just because it annoys me that I fought twice for them and didn't win a fight. Like I didn't win a fight in the UFC. So at some point I do want to go back, but I also just kind of want to get paid. Like I've been fighting for 11 years and, pretty much made no money off it. So like getting paid is a part of it. Like I want to make a living. I want to buy a house. I want to be able to, set myself up after my fighting a little bit. So whoever pays me, like if they're going to pay me decently, I'd definitely consider going back, but also see how I like the structure of the PFL. Like it's only been one fight. You still got 3 more fights. Even the one after this, it's only a 7-week turnaround. So it's quick turnaround. Obviously that can be hard on your body if you get injured or something, like long-term, if you were doing it like every single year, but well, yeah, we'll play it by ear.
Say okay. I mean, I know there's a couple. I feel like there's a couple guys on PFL kind of the similar thing of like, you know what, the UFC will always be there, but for now, I want to get paid, make sure I get my guaranteed fights, take care of my family. Then we can take that leap of faith again, go back to the UFC where it's just kind of a shit shoot of figuring out like when you're gonna fight, how you're gonna fight, where you're even gonna be in the rankings, and even how the chance you even have at getting to the title. It's just kind of it's just a crapshoot when you make it back over there.
Yeah.
So I do just another quick thing I want to ask about, like with this whole fight coming up and all this other stuff. Do you like the confidence that you have? Do you feel like you have the confidence again that you had back when you're 11-0, just about to join the UFC, especially after these last couple, like 5 straight wins, 5 straight finishes?
Definitely. I think, fighting Israel was definitely really big for my career. I've heard Joe Rogan talk about it when someone fights like the best. Like when someone fights a world champion, loses, but then they get a lot better from it. And I know Israel wasn't the world champion at the time, but it didn't take him long, and it's given me a lot of confidence, and also training with him and stuff like that. Like, given me a lot of confidence knowing the level I am at. Also, competing against those guys to then go compete. Like I know I'm at that level. I know where I am and how good I am. Where, when I was 11-0, obviously I was going well, but I hadn't fought anyone that good, and I hadn't learned those lessons from, the defeats that you do learn. So I'm definitely, I'm a way better fighter than I was when I was in the UFC. I was only 25 when I was in the UFC.
I was about to say, you're so young. Like now you're so much older. Like in those, that 5 years of MMA experience is just a godsend. Like it's just, it's on, you can't even you can't track it, how much that does to you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like I was young, I was still learning and stuff, but now I'm way better fighter than I was then. So,
and ready to win $1 million. So
right.
I want to get to know a little bit about you outside the cage real quick. First and foremost, man, what do you do when you're not in the training room, you're not in the cage? What are you doing with your free time?
Sleeping, recovering. Depends. If I got a fight, obviously, when I've got fights booked, I find it hard to do too much. I'm pretty tired, but I do like going. Like I'm in Colorado at the moment, in Denver. And most Sundays we try and get out and go for like a bushwalk or just get into nature and do something relaxing like that. Coming from Tassie, I really appreciate all that sort of stuff. So I've learned over the last few years that I definitely need to take that time and, get into nature and relax and that sort of stuff. Other than that, just, hanging out with friends, watching fights like at a pub or playing pool or going to an arcade game or something like that and just mucking around.
What's the go-to drink?
Go-to drink?
Go-to drink.
I like a strong IPA.
IPA guy? Okay.
Yeah.
not Foster's. Is Foster's
Not
Americanized? Is that Americanized Australian beer? Like,
Yeah, I
you
don't
guys
think I've
actually...
ever had a Foster's. I don't know anyone who's had a Foster's in Australia.
Okay, I fucking knew it. I always thought
Yeah.
that was bullshit. Kind of like how Outback Steakhouse isn't a real, like, you guys
That's
don't eat
two
that
things.
shit.
The guy at the gym I've been training at, Cody, keeps saying all I drink is Foster's and go to Outback Steakhouse and
Bloomin' Onions and Foster's. That's all it
Bloomin'
is.
Onions. That's what he says. I don't even know what one is, but yeah.
It's just like a fried onion, and that's all it is. It's like it's like literally take an onion, chop it up a little bit, put it in some batter. It fries up, and it's like a bloomin' flour, but it's an onion, and you dip it in the sauce. And
I think that's an American thing.
it is an American. Well, yeah, it's very much an American thing. I knew that one. I knew Outback's not an Australian thing at all. What, like, and it's also kind of leads to my other thing is like, you're in Denver, so one of the cool things about Denver is like you have like you can go about like 30 minutes certain different ways. You can have like 4 different seasons. Like, what's the biggest difference between being out there in Denver here in America and being over in Australia?
Well, it snowed the other day, which is pretty cool. I was pretty excited about that.
Have you never seen snow before?
I've seen snow, but it's not like, I mean, I've gone skiing like when I was a kid, but where I'm like in Tassie, it doesn't snow to sea level, or if it does, it wouldn't settle. Where it was, quite deep settling for the day or two, and that was a month before summer. So it was like 30 degrees, which is like 90 degrees one day, and then the next day it was actually snowing. So
it is the beauty of America and some of our cities where you can experience like 3 to 4 different seasons in a span of like 24 hours. It's craziness.
We get that. We say we get all 4 seasons in a day in Tasmania, but it's just like rain, sunny,
Yeah.
It's not
all
like
that kind of stuff. Yeah. All right. So I have one last question for later, but for now, obviously you can tell like this kid hasn't said a word. This is my intern. He's going to ask you a series of 5 questions. This is where it gets a little weird. So it's like a game. 5 questions. So he's going to ask you he's going to ask you a question, and then you decide if you like the question, you have to answer it. But if you don't like the question, you have to tell him you don't like the question, and then we wrap this thing up.
Okay. What if I don't like any other question?
Oh, just tell him.
Then we just.
No. Actually, no. What happens is if you don't like one question, he's done. Like I cut him. He's done.
Yeah.
Oh, so one question and it's done.
If you don't like it, it's over. Yeah. But if you want to give him a chance, he has 5. So
he's starting with his best question, I'm guessing.
Maybe. I don't know. There's pressure now. There is a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah. Never had anyone like go into depth about trying to figure out how the system works.
Oh, people have rejected. I will preface. We have had someone say that's a terrible question on the first one before. So that won't be a first.
I mean, I have had bad questions before, so we'll see how we go.
I'm pretty sure I've had a couple today. So like, well, listen.
Yeah. All right, so let's get this started. So first and foremost, being from Australia, do you have any horror stories about like massive bugs or deadly animals?
I mean, we definitely have spiders and snakes and everything, but I don't know if it's as bad as everyone in America seems to think it is. But like we'll have we'll have huntsmen like that big just in your house, but they're not poisonous and I don't really care about them. I usually just chuck them outside.
just pick them up bare hands, or do you have like tongs?
Sometimes I'll catch them in like a container, or they kind of run around pretty fast. So if it's a small one, you can just get it on your hand and just like chuck it outside.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, it was like we were talking about Foster's earlier. Maybe the stories about the animals and the bugs have all been blown out of proportion, like in the same sense. But I could never pick up like a big ass spider like that just by my bare
We're
hands.
pussies in America. Let's be honest.
You guys are.
We are. Like let's not beat around the bush. We're pussies.
Like I saw. We went for a walk on Sunday and we saw a rattlesnake. So like you guys have got poisonous shit.
Yeah, we got our fair share.
Everyone says they're scared of the spiders. I'd rather see a spider or a snake than see a fucking bear or a mountain lion.
Yeah, 100%.
See, I'm the other way around, to be honest. I like the bears and the mountain lions. I think they're funny as hell.
I mean, when the fuck have you been face to face? When the fuck have you been face to face with a bear or mountain lion?
I've been face to face with a snake and just been chilling. So
I'm just saying, you want to be that. You want to be
on
that.
the walk we went on the other day. It had a sign saying "Beware of mountain lions," and then it said, "If one attacks you or approaches you, try and be big and loud, and then if it attacks you, fight back."
Oh yeah, you got to puff your chest out, make noises, just try to scare the hell away. Like a,
I just like that it
like
said fight back, don't like submit to death.
Do you think you could take on a mountain lion?
I was saying it would be a cool story if we got attacked and I got to beat up a mountain lion before my fight, like that.
Be like the Beeb and the Bear thing,
Like a confidence booster, just I killed a mountain lion, so
no big deal.
I feel like fighting in an octagon would be so much easier after beating down a mountain lion or something.
No fear.
Like, yeah, I just took down a wild animal.
Exactly.
Nothing too scary.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 2. So you liked it, you answered it. So
number two. Yep. So this one's a bit weirder. If you could create like a costume mascot to follow you to the ring or the octagon, what would you make it?
A costume mascot. Probably like just a kangaroo with boxing gloves. Classic Aussie.
Kangaroo Jack style kind of thing.
Classic Aussie kangaroo, but not boxing gloves, like MMA gloves on.
Get a Foster shirt on it, just completely Americanized the fuck out
of it. Foster shirt, yeah.
Outback's advertisement on the back.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to do a shoey with Foster's after the title fight.
No, that would get a lot of publicity. That would get a lot of engagement.
If I can down a Foster's, I don't know how good they are.
I've personally have never tried one, so I couldn't tell you.
I mean, it would probably taste incredible after winning that title, even out of the shoe. So
that's true.
As long as it's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah, it can't be warm.
No.
Can't be warm. But all right. So moving on, question 3. So I don't know if you've heard, but Aaron Donald just signed with Kanye West's Donda Sports. So if you could have any musician give you a deal, who do you think it would be?
J. Cole. He's probably my favorite.
J. Cole?
I love that. What's your favorite J. Cole album? He's my favorite artist.
He's also mine as well.
His latest album was a good pump up album. I walked out to 95 South for my boxing fight.
That's a good one.
That's a good song.
That's a good one.
Pretty much all of his stuff's awesome.
I love it. I love his stuff. What's your walkout song going to be this time? Do you know yet?
I don't know. So I think they're just assuming it's the same one. I came out to On Top by Flumes for my last fight, but I never come out to the same song. I always change, but I haven't. I was trying to think of Australian, he's an Australian artist. But I'm not sure since it's the tournament, should I stay with the one song the whole way through or change it up?
Just go with the flow. Go with the feels.
Yeah.
I often don't decide to the week of. I'm just a song that I play gets me in the mood, and I'm like, all right.
What's the what is the deadline? I've always wondered, what is the deadline for them to know what your walkout song is?
I don't know. Surely it doesn't matter too much.
I don't think so. You could change it 30 minutes before. Hey man, put this on the aux. And they're
okay. Why would it matter?
Nah, it shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter at all. It's not like those program directors. They definitely have no stress whatsoever. Harrison, number 3, 4.
All right. So when I was doing my research, I noticed you had a pet German Shepherd, it looked like. So if you could take any attribute from your pet dog to help you in the octagon, what would it be?
Well, she's pretty injured at the moment, so I don't know what it would be.
What happened?
But she's just got hip dysplasia, lots of the German Shepherds, which is very unfortunate. Since I try to buy her from a good breeder that checks all their hips and everything, but apparently it can just happen to even flat back good German Shepherds. What would it be? Well, it's not a rule in MMA, but I think you should be able to headbutt people.
Yeah.
So if I could take her hard head, because she just smashes it into anything and doesn't seem phased, I would take that hard head and then I would add headbutts. I just think headbutts.
That would be
I just think headbutts, especially on ground and pound. That's one thing I'm not sure. One thing I don't love about the PFL is no elbows.
Yeah, that's the only downside. Everything else PFL has is great. It's just the no elbows rule is just so bullshit.
And I noticed that in my last fight, like I had the guy down for 3 minutes, and I'd often get the finish, and it's just much harder not to finish someone with ground and pound without elbows. And like I've got the tattoo of the razor there on my elbow, so it's kind of like
you can't really use it.
Can't even use it.
You can't.
How hard?
That would be a.
How often do you think about that? Like when you're about to get in that fight, like do you have to like motion like tell yourself like don't elbow, like because like you're so used to it in like all these other fights.
Well, I only found out like 3 or 4 weeks before the last fight that there was no elbows. I thought there were, and then my girlfriend was just looking up something and was like, "No, you can't elbow." I was like, "What?"
That's my thing. What?
Yeah.
So like, do you like when you were like on top of him, like doing your ground and pound, were you like motion? Like, is there ever a moment where you're like, oh, wait, oh nope, or like, do you have to like change your motion? Like,
I don't think I obviously trained it out of me, but it was definitely like when they're kind of wrapping up your hands and stuff, like you can just drop an elbow, or if they're covering up, throwing an elbow down on someone. It doesn't matter if they're covering up; you can hurt them through that. Where a punch doesn't quite do the same.
Yes, I feel like that's got to be such a natural habit you have. Just at some point, this is.
And that was like my coach, Priscus back home, and that's all we used to do when we started. Was just like ground and pound people, take people down, punch, elbow them. That was kind of our style. So it's annoying that you can't do that.
Yeah. All right,
but
Harrison,
that would, if you were able to use that headbutt, that would be a nasty like 1-2-3 combo on the ground with like a right then a left and a straight headbutt. That'd be so nasty.
I just think like when people like wrap up your arms and just holding on, not trying to go stand up, and then you can just whoosh.
Yeah. It's a guaranteed, like every single time too. It is like a cut. Like you're automatically going to cut them open. You might cut yourself open, but you're going to cut them open too.
Yeah.
More damage on them than to you, but it's like recoil.
Yeah. That's the name of the game. All right, Harrison, number 5. Let's wrap this thing on up.
Number 5. All right, so we were talking about walkout songs earlier, but if you had to choose, if there were only 2 songs that you could choose from, and they were either Barbie Girl or the SpongeBob theme song, which one of those would you pick?
Probably the SpongeBob, because that's a classic TV show.
I like it.
Fair play.
I thought you were going to go Barbie Girl. I thought you were going to say Barbie Girl because Ty did it. I thought maybe you go Barbie Girl just like Ty.
I mean, that's the thing. Ty's already done it, so then it'd just be kind of like I was.
Just a wannabe Ty, but if you do SpongeBob, then you're like, oh, that's a real.
And I'm doing a Foster Shoey, and people are like, get the fuck out of here, you're not Ty.
That was a favorite of my wrestling coaches back in high school. He would just have us going around doing our laps in practice, and Barbie Girl would be pumping. It was actually pretty hype.
You get hyped on it,
yeah. It gets the blood pumping. Like as much as people don't want to respect it, like it gets the blood pumping.
Yeah, it's a good song.
It's a great song. All right, man. Appreciate you coming on. So before we let you go, you're obviously not going to say you're going to lose. You're not going to say you're going to win by a decision. What should we expect from you next Friday in your fight?
I think I'm just going to be a lot too quick for him. Like I'm too fast for him, and kind of showed in his last fight. Like he used to be a heavyweight, and his last fight he just looked quite slow. And I think I'm going to be able to put him away early with my hands. My boxing is feeling the best it's ever felt. I've had that boxing fight. I've just been working on that a lot, and I look for knocking him out pretty early.
All right,
points.
Get some 6 points. You lock yourself up for that would be put you in the top spot, right?
That's what I'm looking for. I want that top spot, and then
yeah. Don't want to see shoe face.
Yeah.
Save shoe face for the championship. We want that championship.
Yeah. Well, someone told me. I don't think it's true though that you can use elbows in the final. And I thought if it was shoe face, it'd be good, but I don't think it is. I don't think you can.
You guys should like shake your hands, like, all right, well, we're gonna go UFC rules today.
Well, they do it so you don't get cut, and then it doesn't stop you in the next fight. But in the final, fighting for 6 months. So and headbutt.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And headbutt.
And the headbutts is kind of nowhere, but or actually, is there anywhere where headbutts are allowed?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Maybe like Pride.
Maybe Pride, anything happens. There's no rules mode over there. All right, man. So before we let you go, if there's anyone you'd like to like give a shout out to or anything like that, go on ahead.
Just thanks to everyone who supports me, everyone back home who I've been missing out on. My gym back home, HGC. That got me to this place. I'm training here at Factory X now, and everyone's awesome here as well. So, I'm excited just to keep showing everyone how good I am.
Love it. Love to hear it. Love the Factory X people over there. Love the Factory X guys. So, Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for coming on the show. A lot of fun chatting it up with Rob. Now he's one of our favorites. Took us a little minute to break him down. That's always sometimes takes a minute to make them realize we're not big J's. We're just stupid fucking Americans who just like to shoot the shit. So before we go any further, this past weekend, I said it on Twitter. I've said it kind of everywhere. This past weekend was by far the best pay-per-view of the year. I went back and I had to go look at the past couple events. So going back in time, I'm going to read the list off. So you had Ngannou was kind of mid. Adesanya Whitaker, that was kind of a mid card as well. Covington Masvidal sucked. Volkanovski Zombie, that was a fun one. That was probably the second best, purely off the Burns and Chimaev fight. Then you got Oliveira Gaethje, which was, again, it was all right. It had some moments, but also had some pretty shitty moments. You had the Rosa Spars, which takes anything down as bad as it did. And then you had this past weekend. So before I move on to my real thoughts on everything, that was the best pay-per-view. Let's give my bonuses away. My first one is the performance of the night. It goes to the judges. Man, were they on a roll this weekend. Holy shit. So for all of you so if there was one fight, if you didn't fully watch the main card, okay, whatever. Or you're like Harry, didn't watch the entire thing, you just kind of looked at all on Twitter. There was a fight before the pain that was between Josh Kulabau versus Sung Hoon Choi. Kulabau rocked him the first round, pretty much finished him in the first round, didn't finish him. It is what it is. Second round, knocked him again, rocked him a couple times. Go to the judge's decision. You think easy, 29-28. He got kind of grapple fucked in the third. Some dumb fuck judge gave him 29-28 to Choi. It made no sense. I don't know. It is what it is. Sometimes that shit happens. The most outrageous card, though, went out to Valentina Shevchenko. Arguably lost the fight. She was grapple fucked as well for about 3 out of the 5 rounds. You could date damage, all that kind of stuff. Giving her the fight, it's controversial. Kind of controversial. It is what it is. Interpret the rules however you want. But giving her a 49-46 might have been the worst scorecard I've ever seen. And I've only been watching for 2 years, but I'm pretty sure that might be one of the worst of all time. Just because we're in America doesn't mean we can avoid the bad judges. But moving on from that, my other performance of the night goes to Tony Ferguson. Why the fuck am I saying Tony Ferguson? He wasn't even there, because we are finally seeing the live-action remake of what he looked like as a champion, Yuri Prochazka. The Way of the Samurai, the embodiment of Tony Ferguson, left his body at UFC 249 and entered Yuri Prochazka at UFC 252. And now we are seeing what Tony Ferguson would be like as a champion in 2022. Maybe not as skilled, but definitely might be a lot more fun because he's unique in his own way. But going into my fight of the night also goes to Yuri. Yuri versus being a fucking samurai. What the fuck are you doing? Preface real quick. Love Yuri. One of my favorite fighters. Might be my favorite fighter to watch. Stop throwing the fucking knees against grapplers. They're going to cake you down every time. What the fuck? Well, they're just so fucking stupid. You have Glover Rock to go for a flying knee and to get taken down, which, as a fact, that was probably the fight of the year, easily, hands down. Maybe the best fight I've ever seen. But, oh my God, he was just trying too hard sometimes with some of this stupid fucking bullshit samurai shit. Man, that was a lot of curse words. But, and none of it flowed. But no, that was, man, it was just frustrating to watch as a Yuri guy. I love Glover though. It was one of those fights too where, I mean, like, Harry, you can attest to this. Like when you have a fight where you like both the guys, I mean, it's kind of hard to cheer one way or the other. So I was cool with happening at both. I mean, we were in the 5th round, and even though I didn't put that much on Yuri, I was just kind of bet on him because I thought he was going to meme Glover into an NFT, but it didn't happen. We were in the 5th round, and Glover was on top of him, just pounding away. I was like, all right, it's over. Glover won. Awesome. Cool. Let's do it. Let's do it with him versus Jan 2.0. And then all of a sudden, the most unthinkable thing in the world happens, and Yuri subs Glover, which I just want to say this. If you showed me that video of Yuri Prochazka subbing Glover Teixeira like 4 hours before, you come with your betting ticket showing that you won that bet, I still would not have believed you. That's how fucking insane that was. Unheard of. It's like if Conor actually pulled a guillotine against Dustin Poirier. Even that's not even like conceivable to what just happened. It just I'm trying to put into words. It's like Izzy tapping out fucking, I don't even know, man. It's crazy. Well, that was the most unthinkable thing you could have ever seen. It's kind of crazy. So you had like Glover being tapped up by Yuri. You had Tony Ferguson getting memed and getting fucking flatlined. You had Joanna getting memed last night. Not memed. She got flatlined on Saturday night. That whole card was just nuts. It was nuts. So I'm going for 5 minutes. If you want my full takes on everything, like I blog every week now for the post events, give my bonuses, give everything an explanation. So check those out. I'll start posting them on Twitter, which I haven't. But check those out. They're a lot of fun. I'm what I am here, just in written format. So let's move on to our winners and losers of the weekend. I'm gonna start. My first winner goes out to Tiger Woods. Amid all this live golf concepts everyone's been talking about, all the money, all the bags being thrown around, Tiger Woods, despite a divorce settlement, despite the divorce payments, Tiger Woods is a billionaire, and that's without being paid out the ass by the Saudis. So shout out Tiger Woods for becoming a billionaire amid all this. It is a little Mickey Mouse, I will say, because inflation's through the roof. It is a little Mickey Mouse, but he is a billionaire. Eldrick Woods.
Good on Tiger.
Good on Tiger. Good on Tiger. Harrison, you're first. Welcome to the show. Let's hear your first winner.
Woo. Yeah, my first winner goes to the man, the myth, the legend, Adam Sandler. Because not only did his new movie come out this week, which is about my Sixers, basically. I mean, he's, a scout in the franchise, something like that?
And how you guys always scout the best players and they all end up on the Celtics?
Oh, yeah, unfortunate.
Spoilers.
But I'm looking forward to watching that. Yeah, and there was the video of him hooping with the IU basketball players, Keith Smart. Like, he hit all of my my fan base items basically in 1 week, and he's one of my favorite comedians of all time anyway. So just a huge Adam Sandler week. Put him back on the winner chart. Get him an Oscar.
Man, Uncut
Get
Gems.
Adam Sandler an Oscar.
Uncut Gems. You should have got an Oscar for that. That was a great
Uncut Gem.
That was a great performance. So moving on to my first loser, I'm giving it to the Warriors in hypotheticals. So throughout this dynasty, they have continued to be probably the most disrespected dynasty in the history of sports. Ime Udoka came out and said, if we play the offense the way we should be playing offense, we should be up 3-1. Motherfucker, you're shooting like 7% higher than you usually do from 3. Get the fuck out of here with that. But every time the Warriors are winning or doing anything, someone's like, but what if this or what if that? What if so-and-so wasn't hurt? What if someone else wasn't hurt? Every year there's injuries. Deal with it. That's just the fact. That's just the way sports are. Like, that's just the way it is. Somehow, apparently, in every hypothetical mind, everyone should be beating the Warriors, despite the fact that Steph Curry is the best shooter of all time. And he's going berserker. We're filming this before Game 5. I'm assuming Clay's going to go off because he's starting to hit a shot better. Tatum's probably going to continue to shell himself up, which I'm probably going to goal take Dispose for saying that. Even though he's not been that good this series, so it's not like I'm saying crazy shit by saying that. Which we'll get to that after winners and losers. But yeah, Warriors and hypotheticals, man. It's fucking crazy how many people come out there and be like, oh, well, so-and-so didn't happen. It happens every year. And there's always the hypotheticals of so-and-so. So just stay healthy. At the end of the day, just stay healthy. And then you don't have to worry about hypotheticals. Harrison, you're losers.
It's easy as that. You should tell that to the Sixers.
My Pacers still have the same. The Pacers have the same problem, so I wish.
Oh,
yeah. Same with the Colts. Yeah. Rest in peace, Angela. Anyway, Harrison.
Yeah, my first loser of the week goes to any team in the NHL's Eastern Conference not named the Tampa Bay Lightning, because for 3 years, for 3 goddamn years, you have allowed the Tampa Bay Lightning to walk all over you, and just again walk their way into the Stanley Cup for 3 straight years. That's not good. That's just. It's the easiest division in hockey, but like, if the one team is dominating like that, it's like the Warriors back when the Western Conference was like the laughing stock of the league. Like, it's a shame. It's a shame.
Or is it just because the Lightning are so good it makes everyone seem like bums?
I mean, it could be that, but this is also the division with the Flyers, the Canadiens, the Senators.
Oh, their division isn't very good. I will say this though: the one thing the one takeaway I had from those entire playoff series was the Maple Leafs got fucked so bad.
That should have been the Eastern Conference Finals, and
you
that
can
was
make a
round
case.
1 play.
You can make the case that really was the conference finals.
It was, because if the Toronto had won that series, they would have gone on to dominate the rest of the teams the way Tampa Bay did. The NHL just needs to go back to the 1 through 8 structure instead of whatever the hell they're doing right now, because it really makes no sense to have Toronto and Tampa Bay playing that early in the playoffs.
That sucked. That was awful. I hated that because I think there's like a part. It's kind of like when actually I didn't feel bad about the Lakers being bad for as long as they have. It's kind of like I am for even though you won't feel this way for like the Cowboys. I want the Cowboys to be good, and I want them to do stuff. I want them to make it to the playoffs though, because I want to also see them get hurt. Like that's the other thing.
I can see that from a neutral fan's perspective, and I can completely understand it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Well, it's kind of also like the Giants. They're an historic football team. Like that, the New York, the NFC East is like very historic. So that's one.
It's the most historic division in football, I would say.
I could give. Yeah, there's so many different. Yeah, there's so many different teams in that. Like, it's kind of like when the 49ers were bad for as long as they were. I think everyone was kind of, let's get the 49ers back. That's a better example that you can agree with.
And like the Broncos right now, too.
Oh, I could give one less of a fuck. They got Russell Wilson.
That's fair. But you know what I meant. Like,
I know, You want the historic teams to be good. It's kind of like I have a little soft spot for Chicago. You know, I want Chicago to do well. Just because it's a big market. I know Chicago fans can be, you know, they're their own way. But they're, part of you wants, it's like some of these markets, you just want them to see success. Just because they haven't in a while, and it's more fun when you get to see them all get hurt in a very, very special way. I think that's the best part. You see them get all excited. It's kind of like Knicks a couple years ago, and Trae Young took their soul. That was awesome. That was
incredible.
Imagine Toronto having Stamkos and those guys just rip their hearts out in the conference finals, not the first round. It would have hurt so much more. It would have hurt so much more. So
it would have been beautiful. Toronto, I think, would have gone down in flames. You just smell maple leaf burning across in Detroit.
Sorry. Hey, sorry. All right, moving on. My last winner, Violence. I already said it. UFC 275 was by far the best pay-per-view I've seen in a minute. It might be the best I've seen. As I said, I think 262, 268 are up there from what I've seen, but 275 had the controversial decisions, Valentina, as I said already, and Yuri Prochazka subbing Glover Teixeira, which, as I've already said, told me that if you told me that like days before, if you told me that every day, I wouldn't believe you. If you could show me the video every day, I wouldn't believe you. Like, that's how fucking crazy. It's like when Leicester City won the Premier League. That's how I describe it. That's a better way to describe it. It's like
I know what you mean.
There's no way in fucking hell you would ever expect that to happen. Which is just nuts.
Oh my God, it did.
And then all of a sudden, you're watching it happen live. You're like, oh my God, no way. That was. Every now and then I'll yell at the screen. I'll be like, there's no fucking way, by myself in my apartment. I was literally like, there's no fucking way. I was so loud. I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't wake up Ruth, my little 90-year-old downstairs neighbor. But I didn't. She's fine. She was probably drunk. Who cares? All right, Harrison, you're your last winner.
Had to pull this out on the epi with Rob, but Australia, just today, they're heading to the World Cup. Oi! Australia, they're
Foster's and blooming onions.
Americans are pussies.
Yes.
No, but good for Australia. The World Cup just feels complete when Australia books their qualification. So let's see how the Roos from Down Under are going to do this year, and I hope them the best. They're fun to watch. Usually, pull out a world beater occasionally.
I love those Islanders, New Zealand, Australia, everyone I met from those areas. Those guys, they're all awesome. They're so much fun.
They're the best.
So let's move on to losers. Australia and those guys, they're not losers no matter what. But my big loser today, Stonks. If you're in Stonks, you're down bad. You're down real bad.
Horrendous.
If you're a trader, man, I hope you had. Well, it's not. I hope you had some calls for like everything to tank. If you're a Bitcoin guy, tough day to be a Bitcoin guy. If you have
horrible
apes,
day.
It's an even worse day to be an ape because you're already down bad. I can only imagine how down bad you are now. But buy the dip. I do. I am a Bitcoin believer. We could have if you don't know what you feel about Bitcoin, listen to our episode with Kenny Florian. He had me ready to run through a fucking brick wall when it comes to Bitcoin. I'm a believer, but as I said, it's gonna be real volatile in the next 6 months. But as I said, like stocks boys, down bad, down really bad. It's down like 20% I'm happy. I sold all my shares like 4 days ago, guys. I didn't expect it to drop this bad, this fast, and I also did it for other reasons. But lucky me. Lucky you. Lucky me. All right, Harrison, your last loser.
So my last loser is my legs.
Oh no.
Oh, it was a rough weekend because Clumsy Harrison was fully out to play. I was up celebrating my buddy's birthday up at his lake house. And so day one, I forget to put sunblock on my legs, and my feet wind up sunburnt. So great start.
Yeah.
Phenomenal start. Day two, I'm just walking up the dock, and I kick like one of the little poles, hurt my feet a little bit, nothing too bad. That's foreshadowing for what would happen later.
Oh, no.
Because we get to like 6 o'clock at night. I'm running inside to grab something real quick. And I just kick the stairs with all of my might and split my toe open.
Woo!
And it was that was a painful one.
Ow.
Still, but moral of the story is, no matter what happens, get back up and keep getting out there, because the next day I had 3 plastic bags wrapped around my foot and I was on that tube going nuts.
No.
So hell of a weekend, but my legs came out much worse for wear.
I think the worst part about those injuries is not the injuries themselves. It's not like when it happens. It's you start drinking, you feel nice, maybe you get a little buzz, get a crossfade, and you're like, oh, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling nice. This isn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's the day you leave and you're done where you really feel it. I fucked up my leg when I was in Florida, so like this kind of not as bad at all. Like we were at this like sandbar. I had to push. I kicked the shit out of an anchor. Didn't hurt that bad. And then I realized, like as I was walking, every time I plant on my left foot, it had like the stinging sensation. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It bothered me to hell's deep. I mean, I still operated like a normal human being, but it was annoying as hell. So, but I didn't really feel it though until we got back from the sandbar. I sobered up a little bit, and yeah, I heard.
And then you're like, "Ooh, there it is."
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, that's not fun to walk on." It made it tough scenes. Tough scenes. That was a real tough scene. All right, that's what we got for those. Quick shout out to my boy Maple Jordan. Everyone's starting to give him credit and kudos for clamping up Jason Tatum. Which, by the way, shout out Jason Tatum, because I've been right about him. He's not a superstar. He's just a star, which nothing wrong with that. But people saying he's Kobe, let's chill out. I do want to say this quick stat. Steph's points per game is higher than Jason Tatum's field goal percentage. Wow. That's what happens when you don't chuck up a bunch of stupid ass mid-range jumpers. So especially with but real quick, when I was watching the game on Saturday, this is a super neutral. This is actually dead ass super neutral observation. I don't know why they keep going at Andrew Wiggins. I don't know if they're trying to get him in foul trouble or something. But why do they keep going after
what they're trying to do? Yeah,
I don't know why, but he's only I think 55 possessions against Tatum, Wiggins has 1 foul. He doesn't foul. He's a good defender. So the fact that they keep going at him just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you want to win, don't go at their best defender. Go at Steph. Go at Clay. Go at Dre. Like, well, actually, I'll say Dre played really well defensively last game, but I don't understand. So I can't wait till the night when I'm watching the same fucking shit happen. Why is Marcus Smart going right at Andrew Wiggins? Why are you doing that? I don't understand. Like, if you're a Boston fan, that has to drive you nuts.
Yeah, it has to. It just has to.
Like, I don't understand. That's not me being like, that's not shtick. That's like me being. This is me being like, this is no shtick. Like, I actually like just don't understand. And like, because like, take everything away from what I've ever said about Andrew Wiggins. He is their best defender. So I just don't understand why. All right, well, what's our game plan? Let's just drive on Wiggins, and then pray to God he just doesn't clamp me up. It's just it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Their game plan's so dumb. It's oh my god. But it is what it is. It makes me happier because I like the Warriors. I want Wiggins to win. I want, like, not even Wiggins. I want Curry to win again because he's putting on a performance. I love the fact that people are talking about giving him the Finals MVP.
As he should be.
No matter what.
He's been dominating.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Even if the Celtics win. Even though I think
he's been the most consistent out of everyone in the series.
Even most consistent. Brown's been going off a little bit, but his problem with Brown is he'll have one explosive quarter and then he's kind of mid throughout the rest. I think that's his issue. Tatum's just super inconsistent. Turnovers crazy. Maple Jordan. But yeah, it's just Curry's by far been the most consistent. He's been hitting everything. He is obviously the best player in the series. It's not even close. I don't think you can make a debate for anyone else. And then, I mean, the Celtics, their team has just been, everyone's been way too, other than Jaylen Brown, they've all been way too inconsistent. But Jaylen Brown himself has also been inconsistent. I don't know. It's still a toss-up because the Celtics do have probably, I would say, 1 through 10 in terms of the best players. They probably have about 6 to 7 of them. Yeah, I think
probably 6 to 7.
Because Draymond Green not in there. I'd say Wiggins is somewhere in there. So Wiggins. Oh, I keep forgetting about Jordan Poole. So got Curry, Thompson, Poole, and Wiggins. Yeah, actually, no, I'm right. Yeah, would be 4. I would say about those 4, and then you'd have like Rob Williams, Horford, Tatum, Smart, Brown. I'm missing somebody. I'm trying to think. Maybe Derek White.
Maybe. Yeah, he's been doing pretty solidly.
He's been balling. Oh, Grant Williams. That's what I'm missing.
Grant.
Yeah, Grant Williams, bully ass, fucking thick boy. All right, that's what we got for the
Lowry levels.
No, he's
Kyle Lowry.
That caboose. That caboose. All right, that's what we got for the show. We got TJ Downtown Brown on the show on Friday. Haven't done the interview yet. It'll be fun though. And then I'm gonna talk to Boom about doing the weight cut interview. We're gonna figure that out. We couldn't have Calvin on this week. He has a bunch of family in town. I was talking to his manager. Just not gonna work out this week. So hopes to him. He's gonna get the big dub. But yeah, shout out to him. Still friend of the program. There's people who are now dead to me in terms of friends of the program. But we'll talk about that on another day. So shout out that. Look forward to TJ Brown on Friday. We'll have a very, very fun show for y'all. See you then. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around with me all the way to the end. I just want to once again thank the sponsor of the show, Living.Fit. If you're looking to better yourself, make sure you go to download the app or visit the website Living.Fit today.